we can do whatever we want.
Sounds great.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone. Thanks for watching today. Another great interview. This one is with Rama. Am I saying your name right?
Absolutely. I always say drama with no D. So yes, that's perfect.
Okay. And you're going to have to help me on the last name.
Kalia.
Kalia. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I just want to get the pronunciation right. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, tell us something about yourself. Who are you? Where are you? What do you do? Those sort of things.
Great, thank you. My name is Rama Kalia, and I am a coach. I coach mompreneurs to create a life they love, and I usually teach them systems and habits and practices so that they can, organize and be more efficient in their business. And then while they're working with me, I slide in a bunch of stuff about manifestation and the woo-woo stuff that I don't talk about outside of, business. But I live 30 minutes outside of New York City with my 11-year-old middle school amazing writer daughter, and my husband is a guitarist. And we just went recently to see the Jersey Boys show because the show opened up again on Monday. Broadway's back, yay! And he's a guitarist on that show. So.
All right. Well, I have howling dogs downstairs just at an inopportune moment. So if that gets out of hand, we may have to put ourselves on pause or something, but we'll see how it goes.
No worries. All good.
Okay.
Life happens, right?
Yes. So is there an interesting fact that you can tell us about your life that maybe you wouldn't share with other people, and preferably not something we already know, like you took the art of channeling class?
Darn, I have to think of something else interesting. Wow. Well, I am originally English. I grew up in England and I moved to New York City 25 years ago, almost 26 years ago, and I now live in Jersey, which is just 30 minutes outside New York City.
Okay, great. And so what sort of breakthroughs have you had since you started the Art of Channeling class, and maybe not necessarily directly related to the class, but just in your life? What good things have happened for you? Great
question. I think I've really started to notice a shift just into less doubt and more, it's things that just shifted. I'm positive more of the time. I usually think of myself as a pretty positive person anyway. I usually say, if you can give me long enough, I can find the silver lining eventually in pretty much anything, because time usually reveals something else that happened, as a result of that, thing that you wouldn't have considered an option. And so I think, I can usually think of myself as a positive person, but it seems to just happen more naturally now. Like more of the time, without me consciously having to think about it. I just feel better and more able to switch into being more positive. The other thing that came, if I may, just one more thing, is that one thing that I really got out of the course was that when Sarah said something about the way channeling has to look and the way she thought it had to look a particular way, and I think it really made me just expand my definition of what channeling looks like. And that really made me realize that I'd actually been doing this for a long time. I just hadn't been calling it. People have always been telling me, oh, you're really intuitive, you're really insightful. And I just thought, oh, that's intuition. It didn't occur to me that that's actually coming from somewhere. It's like, oh yeah, I've been doing this all along and receiving those little things and actually speaking about them, to my clients and things in the moment. And I've always loved that. Sometimes I'll get a message for a client, like I won't think of it as getting a message, but just in the moment, I'll get an image or something and I'll think, I'm not sharing that with them. Like one time I had a client and, she was saying something and I kind of got hit to share with her to envisage, to think about smiley faces. And that seemed like such a random thing to say. And so I said, well, what if you just thought about smiley faces? Just, imagine a smiley face there. And she says, okay, you know what, I'll do that this week and I'll just see how that goes. And I felt like a lunatic. I was like, I didn't help this woman. I didn't do anything useful. whatever. And she came back to me a week later and she says, that smiley face thing you told me, that was the best thing ever. She says, I've been playing a game with my kids and, we've been saying, well, what if you put a smiley face on that? And she goes, and it's really helped us change things around. We've all been more positive and I can't thank you enough. And an amazing thing happened this morning. I opened my coffee and there was a smiling face, inside it. And I was just thought of you and, how great my life has been. This week has been, because I've been thinking about smiley faces. So it's really helped me see that I've been doing this for a long time. I just didn't call it that, and I didn't realize that that's what was going on. So that's one of the biggest shifts that's happened as a result of the course.
Okay, I definitely had the same experience looking back at my life, and then I found that I could also look at other people and even famous people and go, oh my God, he had to be channeling when he wrote that, or
right,
whatever. So I just had no idea how much it's out there, and I too had preconceived ideas about what it was and what it wasn't, and those are all way beyond us right now. So that's really cool. But can you tell us, so what are you trying to accomplish right now in your life? What's next for you?
I'm building my business, which is the kind of thing that I'm usually doing. So I have some new material coming out, and I think it's just I have a different it's just a different way of releasing it into the world now, because I'm doing it, I think, more with my team, with my guides, and with support, rather than I think Sarah makes the distinction between forcing things into place or having it feel effortless. And I think some of the things that I'm doing now, even though I'm still sometimes in that old mindset where I'm just trying to make things happen, a lot of the time I'm a lot sooner I'm going to let it go and say, oh, you know what, how could this unfold for me? So, I think I'm just more open to the possibility and to the magic that's available. Even though I teach it, it's funny, I don't always apply it to myself.
Oh, I totally get that.
I'm not the only one, I know.
So what are some things getting in your way, if anything?
I think forgetting. Even now, it's like I do my best to channel every day, and I'll maybe not do one day over the weekend. And I think it's something that it may be something that you and your guides have. You said it's okay if you take a day off, but don't take two. I think that was you, because there's so many other good information in the group that it gets all jumbled up after a while. But I think that one was from you, and that's something that's really helped, because it's I find that if I have missed 2 days, that it does feel harder to get back into it. Whereas if I just miss one here and there, or if I don't make it that day, it's a lot easier to do it again the next day. But the 2 days seems to be too long now. So it's definitely becoming more natural and something that I'm doing more often. But even then, sometimes I do forget, and I'm kind of like, shall I not? I'll push it off and do other things. But I always feel so much better when I do.
Okay, cool. I just had a lighting fail here. And the dogs have chirped up, so I don't know if you can hear them. I hope not.
I can't at the moment. All good.
Great. Yeah, so if you did hear that thing about don't miss two, I borrowed that from Jerry Seinfeld. Somebody told him to write a joke every day, and he said, oh, what if I miss one? It's going to be a tragedy. And they said, just don't miss two. And he attributes some of his success to that. So anyway,
great.
I always liked it.
No, I like that, and thank you. Thanks for sharing that. I'll see what else I can find. I like Jerry Seinfeld, but that's awesome.
Yeah, and I like letting everybody know that none of these are my ideas. I'm totally unoriginal.
Hardly, but I've really enjoyed, I have to say, some of the material that you've shared. I've loved the deliberate creation, the co-creation stuff. With the map, the visual has been so great to really see what it is that we do to trip ourselves up. So love that. But I would love to ask you, if you don't mind, what has been your biggest thing that you've gotten out of this?
Oh, so the whole co-creation, working with the spiritual side, I've done that, but never intentionally. It's been there. Looking back, I can see, oh, I channeled, I had inspiration and I accepted it in the past, but I've never tried to seek it out and work with it deliberately. And so this is my first go round at any of that, and it's definitely a wild experience.
Fabulous. I've done it before. Years and years ago, I was buying a house, my first home, and I went to contract on 7 houses and they fell through for one reason and another. You know, one didn't pass inspection, you know, just different reasons. And the last house, it got to the point after the first 3 houses or so, I was really disappointed. And it got to about the 4th and I was kind of like, okay, universe, there's got to be a reason for this. And so if this is happening, that house didn't work out and I liked it, the next one's got to be better. What have you got? And so I kind of just had that attitude when it didn't fall through, you know, it didn't happen, it fell through. And I was kind of like, okay, universe, I don't know what's going on, but I trust. And let's just wait and see what happens next time. So the 7th house that I found, I walked in, I just had a feeling settle over me that was kind of like this was my house. And, you know, I'd been outbid on houses. It was a hot area that I was moving to, and I didn't know what was going to happen. I just said, okay, look, this is the number. Not going to be attached. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If it's not, then there's something even better. I can't even imagine what that is, but this is great. And so I put in my number and they came back and said it was my house. I'm like, fabulous, everything's great. And coincidentally, the line that always comes to me from the Rolling Stones is you don't always get what you want. If you try, sometimes you get what you need.
Yeah.
And so the thing that I'd really wanted was a family, and the next door neighbor in that house introduced me to the man that I'm now married to.
Wow.
So following the guidance pays off. And like I said, I got what I really, really wanted, not just what I thought I wanted. It wasn't just a home. It wasn't just a house. I'd wanted to create a home.
I love that story. So how can the group help?
How can the group help? That is a great question. And the only thing I can think of is I know that we have so many people in the group that it wouldn't surprise me if there was somebody who was a connection for me that would help me in some of the things that I'm doing. So if you happen to know anybody who likes doing training for mompreneurs, or helping moms to build their business while creating life balance, then that's kind of what I do. And I would love to invite anybody to check out my information or to join my Facebook group. And that's if you know somebody. Like I said, I'm not pushing anything, but we just have so many connections, and I know that our collaborations happen kind of this way. So I'm open to the magic. Let's see what happens.
Okay, and I'll put any information that you want to share with the group about how to get a hold of you at the bottom of the blog post. So if you just send that to me in a direct message, I'll get that.
I will do that. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, and it's been so nice to talk to you today. Is there anything that you'd like to leave with us, a parting word, thought, inspiration?
Really, it's just thank you. It's like I've got such a lot out of this group. I haven't always shared my stuff, but I'm much more likely to do that because this group has been such a safe, a safe place to do that exploration. And so mostly I just want to leave with my gratitude. It's just been really, really wonderful to receive that information and to be a part of this whole journey. And I really, really enjoyed yours, and watching your growth and your unfolding, as this has been happening, seeing you expand past your comfort zone and do it anyway has been great. Sorry about that.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, well, let's wave goodbye to everybody, and
thanks. It's been fun.